I guess my first question to you would be, you very generously offered to give Donald Trump your Nobel Peace Prize. In light of the subsequent attack on Iran in conjunction with Israel, would you still make that offer?
Well, we did that because we believe that President Trump made a unique and courageous movement towards transition to democracy and freedom in Venezuela. Actually, he's the only chief of state that has actually risked the lives of some of their citizens for the freedom of Venezuela. And we're moving ahead, not there yet, because as you're aware.
In this segment, Piers Morgan pushes Corina Machado on her controversial decision to offer Donald Trump her Nobel Peace Prize. The criticism here lies in the perceived desperation of the Venezuelan opposition. To many international observers, aligning so closely with a polarizing figure like Trump, who was often accused of undermining democratic norms in his own country, seems like a hypocritical move for a leader claiming to fight for democracy in Venezuela. However, Machado's defense highlights a cold political reality. She isn't looking for a perfect ally, she is looking for a powerful one. Critics argue that by deifying Trump as the only leader who took risks, she risks alienating the current US administration and the broader international community. It raises the question, is Machado prioritizing a specific brand of right-wing populism over a broad-based bipartisan coalition that might be more sustainable for Venezuela's future?
Delcy Rodriguez is part of the regime that previously destroyed our institutions and forced a third of our population to flee the country, that has tortured, persecuted, and killed thousands of Venezuelans fighting for freedom. But we have started this path towards transition and democracy, which is something that we desperately demand.
But do you support the war in Iran? Are you behind the Americans and Israelis in this war?
I support the people of Iran that demand freedom and dignity and the possibility to reunite their families. I can speak from the Venezuelan perspective, Piers, and the destruction, absolutely devastation.
One of the most revealing moments is when Piers Morgan asks Corina Machado directly if she supports the war in Iran. Instead of a yes or no, Machado pivots to supporting the people of Iran. From a journalistic perspective, this is a classic evasion. Critics could argue that for someone who demands absolute clarity and courageous action from other world leaders, her refusal to take a firm stance on a major geopolitical conflict shows a lack of transparency. On the other hand, this exchange reveals the constraints of her position. If she supports a war, she looks like a warmonger. If she opposes it, she risks offending the very courageous allies, like the Trump wing, she praised earlier. Piers Morgan's persistence in this segment highlights the tension between Machado's role as a national freedom fighter and her aspirations as a global political player. Does she have a consistent foreign policy, or is her worldview entirely transactional, based on who can help her remove Maduro and Delcy Rodriguez?
That these regimes have brought to our people. And of course, we have denounced for years the very clear link between the regime in Iran and the regime in Venezuela. They actually turned our country into a safe haven for the operation of Russian agents, Iranian agents, Hezbollah, Hamas, as well as other criminal structures from the guerrilla and the international narco-trafficking networks. They all operate freely in Venezuela with the support of Nicolás Maduro, Delcy Rodriguez, and others are still in power in my country.
When Corina Machado begins listing the groups allegedly operating in Venezuela, mentioning Russian agents, Iranian operatives, Hezbollah, and Hamas, she is using what critics call interventionist bait. By framing the Maduro regime not just as a domestic failure, but as a global terrorist hub, she is essentially making a case for foreign military intervention. While Piers Morgan provides her the platform to make these claims, he doesn't push for hard evidence during this specific exchange. The criticism here is that this axis of evil rhetoric can be a double-edged sword. While it grabs headlines and appeals to hawks in Washington, it also allows Nicolás Maduro to frame the opposition as puppets of Western imperialism. By leaning so heavily into the narrative of Venezuela being a safe haven for global terrorists, Machado may be closing the door on diplomatic negotiations, leaving the country in a stalemate where only a violent conflict seems to be the proposed solution.